Many of the glaciers are melting very fast because of the raising of the temperature, because of global warming, because of climate change. We are seeing an unprecedented change in the glaciers, and many of them are irreversible.
Since 2000, we lost an annual average of 273 billion tons of ice. Well, that's just a huge number. To put that in context, 273 billion tons of ice lost every year corresponds about to the water intake of the entire population for 30 years.
Let's talk of Hindu Kush Himalayas, which is also called as the third pole because they hold a lot of water resources. Here, more than 120 million farmers in the downstream areas are impacted directly because of the melting of the glaciers. So when there are a lot of floods, for example, happening because of melting of glaciers, the livelihoods are changed. People tend to migrate from one place to another. So it's, when you ask me how many people are actually impacted, it's really everyone.
Currently, glaciers are contributing to sea level by about 1 millimeter a year. That sounds nothing, 1 millimeter, right? But it has a huge impact. Small number, huge impact. Every millimeter of additional sea level rise is going to flood another 200,000 to 300,000 persons every year. Yeah, I sometimes forget that in the European Alps we are one of the regions that is most affected by climate change. Warming is about double than on the global average. And indeed, glaciers in the Alps are one of the most suffering around the world. We have lost since 2000 almost 40% of the remaining ice. And that means under current melt rates, glaciers will not survive this century in the Alps.
If we continue emissions and the temperatures are rising at the rate they are at the moment, by the end of 2100, we are going to lose 80% of the small glaciers. These small glaciers, we have them in Europe, we have them in Eastern Africa, in Indonesia, and many other places. It is really high time that we create awareness and we change our policies and we create, we mobilize resources to make sure that we have good policy frameworks in place, we have good research in place that can help us to mitigate and also adapt to these new changes.
If I think of my children living in a world with maybe no glaciers, that's actually quite alarming or shocking for myself. So if you have glaciers in your region, I really recommend to go with your children there and have a look at it, because you can see the dramatic changes that are going on, and you will also realize that we are putting a big burden on our next generation.